Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started, I think. We'll just get started. This is Levi Teeger and Steve Holsworth from Sanford Health to talk about what we all need to know, healthy eating habits over the holidays. So I will let you take it from there.
To kick it off, who in here, we're going to be a little interactive today, make this valuable for everybody. Who's going to celebrate at least one holiday within the next 3 months? Just quit showing. Pretty much everybody, I think, even if it's by yourself. We're probably all in here going to celebrate some sort of holiday over the next 3 months. Who in here, again, show of hands, would like to do that, maybe a little bit healthier this year? Good. You have to have a start of a want to make any sort of changes. You don't have to make big changes, is what we're going to find out. Sometimes the smallest changes add up to be the biggest wins and the biggest successes. So we're happy to be out here. As she mentioned, thank you for having us out. I'm Levi, store manager for Profile by Sanford. We're up on 70th and Pioneer here in Lincoln. Steve Holsworth over here, the franchise owner. And I'm going to let Steve just quickly do a brief overview of what Profile is, just so you have a little bit of a legitimacy for what the information we're going to be presenting here on the street today is. So on that note, I'll let Steve give us a quick introduction.
Has anyone heard of Profile? Seen us in the past at the different presentations? I think this is our third one that we've done over the past couple of years. So we're located up on 70th and Pioneers in front of Hy-Vee, right across the street from your Union Bank there on that northeast corner. For you guys, southeast for us, we've been there for over 3 years. Profile is a 5-year-old company now. We're the 13th store that opened back in 2014. Right now there are 33 stores nationwide with another 60 in the works here over the next 5 to 7 years. So Profile is a comprehensive weight management program. We tailor plans individually to each person based on their lifestyle, their health background, what their goals are. So everyone's plan is different, and your journeys can be different too. So you meet one-on-one with a health coach every week. Could go over something, like this, teaching you, how can I get through this holiday with the family, or just this could be really work for any time of the year. I mean, tailgating event, or a potluck with your kid's sports team or something like that. How do I get through that particular event? So we'll take questions at the end, whether it's about Profile or about the presentation. Like Levi said, we'll be pretty interactive today. Get you guys involved a little bit, but kind of tag team the presentation here. Levi will start us off with a little bit of a quiz. We'll go from there.
All right. So we're going to kick it off here. And a big part of healthy living is, first of all, evaluating options. If you have option A and option B, and option B is just a little bit better, we want to obviously go with option B. So we're going to start with that sort of a practice and go from there. So we've got 2 labels here. Hopefully y'all can see it. If not, I can read it off to you. Maybe let's just do that. On the left, we have an eggnog, and on the right, we have an apple cider. What we'll notice is the fats are, actually it's difficult for me to even read that. On the fat servings there, actually Steve, can you read those? Your bionic eyes? All right, we're gonna cheat. You're supposed to be able to distinguish between these. Yeah, let's see if the light's off.
See if that'll help because, I bet that's it better. What do y'all think? Can you see a little better?
That's better, but I don't know.
I believe it says you can read them off, Steve.
Better if I can
A little bit.
I'll get on this side.
Okay. Oh, I'll get over it.
So, eggnog, the serving size is 4 ounces. There's 151 calories, 77 calories from fat. It looks to be 3 grams of total fat. That might be wrong too. But sodium content 72 milligrams, total carbs 21 grams, total sugars 21 grams, and total protein 5.
And the one on the right is a little easier to see. 120 total calories, 0 grams of fat, 60 grams of sodium, total carbs 30, and sugars being 30 of those carbs. 3 grams of dietary fiber, and 0 grams of protein. So offhand, which of these two do you suspect would be the healthier option given the information provided? Okay. Very good. It's interesting because at first hand, we would say, well, they're actually not too far off, but Steve mentioned, I don't know if this has a, yep. He mentioned right offhand the serving size, and that's actually the biggest make or break on this, and the first thing you always want to look at when looking at your options is serving size. Because this one originally is at 4 fluid ounces for serving size versus the 8. And so now we're going to break it down to make these apples to apples. So on the same serving size, now it's a little bit easier to tell right off the bat. You're basically almost, you're tripling the total calories first of all. So that's a lot, a lot of a difference there. But also the difference in protein, the sugar, 42 to 30. But again, the biggest one here is going to be just the calories overall, having basically a third overall. So we're going to get into a couple more, but good job knowing that this one on the right is actually in fact going to be a healthier solution overall.
Do you,
Yep, go ahead.
do you ever look at the calories from fat?
Yeah,
Is that something that you
absolutely.
typically compare when you're comparing things? I
Yep.
guess I don't quite understand that.
So the 3 main macronutrients there being the carbohydrates, the fat, and the protein. Rule of thumb, you want to try and shoot for higher protein options, especially trying to go for something more, a 1-to-1 ratio we call it, which is going to be ideally equal protein and carbohydrates instead of this. Either of these choices are still going to be, in my opinion, too high in carbohydrates. But of the two, again, option A, option B,
Sure.
we can make the healthier option just solely based on calories in this case.
Okay.
Now, if you had something that was a little higher calorie and it was all mainly protein, you had something less calorie, but it was all mainly sugar and carbohydrates, in that case, then you'd probably switch philosophy and go for the high protein option.
Okay.
So we'll give an example of that in this next one. So who likes hot chocolate? Who's probably going to have some hot chocolate this year? I do. I love hot chocolate. Okay, so hot chocolate, unfortunately, is one of those sugary drinks, just like the other two we just looked at. And that's a big holiday theme. The sugary drinks are surrounded by it at every holiday event, you'll notice. So on the same scale here, 8 ounces for a serving, 137 calories. This is an average hot chocolate that you'll probably encounter this year. Total fat, 1.25 grams. Total carbs, 25, protein 5. Again, 15 grams of those coming from sugar on the carbohydrates. So we have a solution at Profile. It's actually our own hot chocolate drink, and we're going to look at what that looks like. And I will be utilizing this one for any of those times where I want that hot chocolate kick. And I like to put a little mint in mine, make it a minty hot chocolate. So we've got the 8 ounces. Right off the bat, we're going to be dropping 47 calories. We're going to be dropping a little bit of fat. The big one, carbohydrates from 25 to 3, sugars from 15 to 2, and an increase in protein. That is what you want to look for, is an increase in protein, a decrease in carbohydrates. That's going to decrease inflammation and those types of things as well. So just so you know, look at your options, try and find those little wins, those little things will add up. Anything you want to say on the slides, Steve? No? Perfect. So, there's a little saying from Dr. Seuss that says, only you can control your future. And we thought that was appropriate. Actually, I'll give a shout out to our coaches from our store. They actually designed this whole presentation for you guys special. So good props to them. And the first thing that we want to make sure that we do with all this is that we're prepared. Again, it goes back to mindset. And if you're not thinking about it, and you don't want, you're not thinking about what you want to do and what your goals are for the holidays, obviously you're not going to be successful. So we're going to be prepared. And the first thing coming out of the gate is to try not to change your routine. Try not to do things really different around the holidays. Still keep your eating, timed eating, routine timed eating is a huge key to staying consistent and not trying to save up your calories, because then you will then obviously overeat later on in the day. That's not a healthy way to do it. You still want to have your nutrition coming in evenly throughout your day. We recommend 6 smaller meals, 3 being breakfast, lunch, dinner, a little bit bigger, but then 3 snacks in between. So try and shoot for 6 meals in your day. That is scientifically shown to be the best as far as optimal metabolism rates, and also giving your body what it needs when it needs it throughout the day as well. So don't skip meals in an attempt to save up calories. Chances are you're going to wind up, really, really hungry, ravenously hungry, and when you get to the party, of course you're going to overeat. And there's so much food there. How are you going to make any good decisions that we're going to talk about from here on out? So it starts with that first bullet point.
I think it's taking time too when you're eating. Everyone, they get to that dinner or that meal and they just want to, everything looks so good and they want to eat everything all in 5 minutes. It takes an hour to prepare something and it's gone in 10 minutes. So it's putting the fork down. Your body will tell you when it's full, but if you're going to eat so fast before it has a chance to tell you that, that's when you have that middle of the afternoon nap and you're just gut ache a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're way ahead of the schedule, and you probably ate for today and tomorrow.
Is this your slide, Mike?
We'll just
Okay, cool. So kind of on that note, is having a healthy snack. Again, like Steve said, a lot of these we designed it for around the holidays. This is for any event. Before you go to a dinner, have that healthy snack before, maybe an hour or so before, so that you're not, again, hungry. It's a good one too when you go shopping. Have a small snack, healthy snack before you go shopping. That's a huge key to not making poor selections as well. Same at any sort of dinner, buffet, or anything like that, especially on the holidays. It's a lot of just kind of a smorgasbord, we call it, right? You're not going to make healthy decisions when you're hungry.
But it's fine to eat before. Yes, there's going to be a lot of good food there, but if you're eating something healthy, it's going to help you. Water is a key important thing. Does everyone drink enough water during the day? How much water does everyone drink?
Try.
Ounces-wise? Yeah.
How much are you supposed to drink? Like 8-ounce glasses, like 8-ounce glasses of water, or what? Is that right?
64 ounces is
Okay.
the minimum intake.
Now, does coffee is that part of water or not?
So, a couple of things. First of all, everyone's going to be different because their activity levels are going to make a big impact. As we said, the minimum 64 ounces of water. But if you're highly active, especially if you're going to be perspiring and all that good stuff, you're going to need a lot more water. So maybe an athlete might need almost double that in a day. As far as coffee goes, we're not going to count regular caffeinated coffee, but decaf coffee is okay. Caffeine can have a little bit of a diuretic effect and some dehydration involved there. So we're not going to try and get our hydration from caffeinated beverages as much. But yeah, certainly decaf coffee, decaf tea, those types of things are okay.
I've heard half your body weight in ounces.
Yep, you can. It's a good one to stick to as well. Again, it's going to be really based on that person's lifestyle at the end of the day. So, yep. Absolutely, that is a good rule of thumb though. So, perfect. I'll take this one, Steve, if you don't mind. So here's the thing too that we need to realize: we're in a day and age. You're not alone in this venture. I'm glad you all came and gave your time to come listen to this today. That shows that you, at least to some degree, do care about being healthier, and that's awesome. But I'll let you in on a secret. Everyone really does want to truly get healthier. You're not alone, and even though they might not be as willing to admit it, they're looking for healthy options. So the best thing that you can do for yourself and for them, help them out too, is to help your host. Offer to bring that healthy dish, because people do want that when they go to any sort of holiday meal or whatever it might be. So obviously this will guarantee that you know what's in it, you have at least one healthy item to eat, and again, you're helping your host out at the same time, providing a healthy dish for others that are also going to be looking for that as well.
Obviously, physical activity can help. As it says here, burning a few extra calories can help. Those pounds from creeping up on you, whether it's getting up a little earlier in the morning or, just going for a light walk or maybe doing a few sit-ups or something in the morning to get the blood going. We'll talk here, we'll slide about physical activity, which can dive into different options, whether it's, you have to go to the grocery store and you have to park farther away at the grocery store to get a few steps in. We're making it fun too with your kids. So.
Does it make a difference if you exercise before or say, shortly after you eat a big meal?
I would recommend probably not having a big meal and then exercising right after.
Well, or like going for a walk or, I mean, is that,
Get your activity in when you can get it in.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. As long as
Yeah, I wouldn't be going and doing boot camp
Okay.
after a Thanksgiving meal, but
Yep.
just getting out and doing that walk, I didn't know if it made a difference before or after.
Getting your activity whenever you can get it in. Absolutely. You all have the sheet in front of you that is there for you to take these things away from after today, but also for you to follow along a little bit. What I want you to do, if you have a pen, great. If not, just mentally pick one out. So again, I said that sometimes it's just the small changes and the small wins that add up to be the biggest success. So I want you to either circle, make a check mark, or make a mental note. I want you to commit to at least one thing. If you do more, obviously great. But I want you to pick one thing from this list that you are going to commit to this year when you are preparing yourself for this year's holiday season. And we're going to do that at each section along the way. Good. So now we've got our mindset. We're going to go in. We're going to be successful. Okay. So that's step A. Step one. Now we actually get to the gathering. Things change because when you're making your decisions outside of the gathering place, you're calm, you're collected, you don't have all the distractions and all the temptations around you. Now we do. So now we have to figure out, planning a little further ahead, now that we're at the gathering, some next steps that we can take. So what we want to do is to set ourselves up for success is enlist some sort of support system. So if you have a spouse or a son or daughter or mother or father that can also join you in this year's attempt to do things a little healthier, enlist that and help keep each other on track. If you do that, you'll be obviously a lot more successful with the accountability, maybe a slap on the hand when you're reaching for that extra, whatever it is. So that would be the first one. We talked about it in the first slide. The sugary drinks are often one of the biggest sabotagers for us during the holidays because they're sneaky. We're just having a drink. We don't even realize it, So we want to eliminate those empty calories, we call it. It's not providing you any real nutritional benefit, just a bunch of wasted, usually sugar calories that add up. And so instead we want to have those non-caloric beverages, or at least very low caloric beverages, things like hot tea, maybe diet sodas, club soda, sparkling water, the sparkling ice drinks, something that isn't just packed full of sugar. Steve, you want to take the next one?
Alcohol, does anyone have a drink or two on Celebration Day? Kind of similar to the sugary sweetened drinks. That's also something that you're not really thinking about when it's just there and it's habit, and you're socializing, and you can very well socialize without the drink in your hand. But not only does it pack those calories, but it can help you resolve those high-calorie foods. So typically, if you have your glass of wine or a beer or something, your taste buds are now going towards something maybe you wouldn't have gone towards if you hadn't. So.
One more little education piece, and then I'll get to your question here. If you have your pen, write this down. 1 gram of carbohydrates, you can just do C for short. Actually, I'll see. Does anybody know how many kilocalories are per gram? And when you're adding it up for carbohydrate, there are 4 per 1 gram for carbohydrates. So write that down. 1 gram C equals 4 calories. So now, on the next line below that, write 1 gram of alcohol, or A, equals 7 kilocalories or calories. So, when you're looking at your labels and you see the alcohol content grams, you would take that times 7 to know how many calories you're getting from that alcohol. And what you'll notice is an alcohol gram is almost twice as much energy-wise, or think of it as fat storage-wise, if we're going to be over our daily allotment, right, or serving allotment. Does that make sense? Where it's almost packed twice as much than carbohydrates or protein. Something to remember. Fat will actually be 9 calories per gram. So just, again, all those foods are packed a little bit different on how your body will process it and store fat and those types of things. So a good one to be a little cautious of. Those alcoholic drinks really add up because of that. And then you had a question. Sorry.
Okay, I don't drink pop.
Okay,
So
good.
what do you think of coconut water?
Coconut water?
Is that good?
Great, yeah, full of electrolytes, probably some healthy fats in there, I'm assuming. It depends on the coconut water. Just check the back of the label. Yeah, that's probably fine, yeah. Absolutely.
Is red wine or white wine better?
Typically,
One versus
typically
the other?
the white wines are going to have higher sugar content, typically. But, you know, research it a little bit, just kind of see what you can just look up nutritional facts of whatever you guys maybe have questions on. And you can bring them up side by side and do what we did in that first slide with the labels. Do the exact same thing. Look at your total calories.
One simple thing with that is, you've probably heard, if you have a drink or a glass of wine or something, have a glass of water with it, in addition to what your 64 ounces or your half your body weight or whatever, have that on top of that to help flush that out.
So we kind of did the same, philosophy in the last section of, eating something healthy before. Well, now this isn't necessarily before, but once you're there, select the healthy appetizers. You're going to see a lot of maybe poor choices in front of you. Get into the veggies. Fill up on the veggies, the dips, the lower sugary fruits. So things like berries, strawberries, those types of things. Low-fat cheeses, hopefully. Maybe the whole grain crackers. That shrimp cocktail is going to be a better choice than maybe some other things there, right? So going for those types of things first, and filling up on things like vegetables and protein, starting there so that you don't have as much room for maybe the poor selections that are also on the table. This is probably the biggest key of all around the holidays, is moderation, smaller portions. You can have that slice of pumpkin pie, or at least part of that pumpkin pie. You don't have to say absolutely no to everything, but keep it in moderation and take small portions. So you'll notice we
have
don't.
a piece for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
It would be better to do that way than to have all that at once.
Have it all at once, yeah.
Moderation, balance. This is probably the biggest downfall in the American society, and it's a big reason why obesity is through the roof, and even child obesity is now, unfortunately, going through the roof. Because we've all been taught growing up, eat everything on your plate because maybe the economy wasn't quite as good at the time, so we've also trained that into our younger generations. Well, the problem is our plates have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're still telling everybody, got to clear your plate, and they have it in their brain. Wipe that from your memory. It's not healthy. It's not good to be wasteful. You can train, everyone and your children that principle, but certainly there's ways around simply just saying, clear your plate every time. Does that make sense? Have them start with the vegetables and the proteins and the healthy fats first, and if they're full, they're full. So next.
Being selective with the calories, so kind of going with taking the smaller portion size, so whether it's having, if you just want to try a little bit of everything, that's fine. Or when I go into a holiday event, I I really can't explain this, unfortunately, but I kind of have a game in my mind where it's like, I'm either going to eliminate probably 3 items, whether that's a pumpkin pie, whether that's drink 2 of 2, or whether it's, you know, the extra serving of juicy potatoes or something like that. I'm going to leave a few of those off the table. It's a lot easier to go back for seconds than filling your plate with everything and then going back for seconds. So it's a mind game a little bit. You got to play with yourself, but you know, we don't have to choose the pumpkin pie and the cookies that Rajon makes and, you know, thing 3 and 4. Choose one of them. They're going to be okay with it. You know, if they're on your side and they know you're trying to watch, you know, be a little healthier, they're going to absolutely love you. So they're going to understand.
So this kind of ties and piggybacks off that, you know, choosing some lower calorie desserts that you still like. Angel food cake would be an example with, you know, berries on top, the pumpkin pie, or just some fresh fruit with maybe a dip. Certainly that might be a little bit better than the sugar-filled, you know, pecan praline or whatnot. So be mindful of that. And again, it goes back to option A, option B, evaluate, which is a little bit of a win. Take the win every time. Last fun one here, or actually 2 ones.
Talked about it earlier, socializing. Take time, make that event about family than food. A lot of us associate any of those Thanksgiving or Christmas events with food as opposed to why are we all here? We're all here to celebrate and be thankful and talk amongst each other. How did the year go for you if you haven't seen them for a while? But do that away from the buffet table. The next tip would be kind of going along with that can help you by not being tempted by those foods. But make it about family and about, you know, just having a good time chatting than having to involve food.
I have a question. Now, can you talk about the difference, butter versus margarine?
Sure.
Isn't butter really better for you than margarine or not?
Yeah. You know, as far as, I guess speaking of that, it might be a time for a different presentation to be talking about all those types of things. But, you know, what I'd recommend without going into maybe my personal belief on that is to just bring up a research article or 2 and look at what the facts are and then make your own judgment on those types of things. It's kind of like the question, is regular soda better for you than diet soda? Well, now you're getting into kind of a contrast of philosophy, and you know, you have to evaluate the information and take your best judgment on that. So I am going to sidestep that question a little bit just for the purposes of this presentation, so we don't get off too many trails. But maybe we can talk about it at the end. I'll definitely tell you my philosophy on it. So the last one here is going to be when you're done through that first initial go around, as Steve said, throw in a piece of gum. It actually is a huge key. I do this one personally. You're going to have refreshing breath as you're socializing with the rest of your family, so I'm sure that they will appreciate it. But 2, it's so easy. You know, we get distracted, we're in conversation, and the jar of Chex Mix is right there. Who in here, hopefully I'm not up, who likes Chex Mix? Yeah. Gosh, when that's out and it's in front of me, I can't help myself. I mean, it's just mindless. Boom, hand them out when you're doing whatever, playing games or cards or whatnot. But if you have that piece of gum in, guess what? You're not going to do that because you're like, oh wait, that would be gross to put Chex Mix in my mouth with gum. Great key there. And before I go to the next slide again, take out your pen or in your mind, select at least one or select all the ones that you're going to commit to this year. But take this time real quickly to select at least one or more of these things that you're going to really focus on this year. Because if you focus on all of them, we might not really get any of them followed through. But by selecting 1, 2, maybe 3 at the max, you have a pretty good chance of actually sticking to it once you're there. So give you just a quick minute. Whenever Steve's ready, we will launch on to the next phase over here.
So throughout the holidays, it's probably not necessarily a great time to think about weight loss if that's what your maybe goal is or New Year's resolution might be. So focusing on weight maintenance, not stressing out over it. Stress is a huge indicator for weight gain. So throughout the holidays, just focusing on just healthier eating, taking these not only for that specific event, but sometimes those events, not only for Thanksgiving, but you have that meal on Thanksgiving Thursday, and then you have leftovers Friday. You have another event on Saturday, and then you have leftovers for 2 events, and then all of a sudden now you're eating that for a little while, and then here comes your Christmas party for work, early December, and now you have a couple family and Christmas gatherings, and all of a sudden it's the New Year, and you still have leftovers. So, it's hard to do, but it's either say if I don't need any leftovers, give that to your kids or someone else's kids or whatever. But it's finding those little wins to maybe make it about just that one day, Thanksgiving Day, work party day, Christmas Day, and making it 3 days instead of battling 2 months from mid-November to mid-January.
Absolutely. So to piggyback off of that, a lot of times we get ourselves in trouble by saying, well, I know that I'm going to start fresh come January 1 or 2, and so I'm going to allow myself, I'm going to factor that in and take those calories that I'm not going to be having in January, go ahead and take those now, and that is where we really get into some trouble, and that's oftentimes where some really bad habits can build up over the course of those 2 months. So don't plan on dieting after the New Year. Anticipation of food restriction may actually obviously set you up for overeating during the holidays, and like I said, you're just building up really poor habits that are really hard to break. You're just making things harder on yourself.
I have a quick story about that. When we opened the profile here, both my parents did profile from the very first store opening. They both lost, my dad lost about 80 pounds, my mom about 35, maybe 40 pounds over 7 months. I remember the day they started on December 26th. So it's exactly that. When my dad told me he was starting it, he goes, yeah, he was a sweet guy, he was just all Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and I'm like, it wasn't a good idea. So to see that firsthand on that side, that was all it took for me to be like, I won't do that. Even if I'm planning on dieting or not, I will never make my mind go that way, where I'm just going to take a day and I'm just going to try to finish off all the sweets that are in front of me.
The Last Supper mentality.
Maintaining perspective. So kind of talked about it a little bit before. If it's one day, that's okay. There's a lot of days in the year. There's a lot of days in your life left. Don't let that affect the following days, the following weeks, the following months. Just don't give up with it. Go back to normal the next day. It's okay. If you're in for, if you need help with weight loss, or if that's your goal, you didn't gain all that weight overnight. You won't lose it overnight, but again, going back, still won't gain it back. You might feel like it, but check the scale, it's not going to be as bad.
Something I like to encourage members that I work with at Profile is, go in with a game plan and have your boundaries set. I don't want to go outside of these boundaries, so I might say, I'm only going to have 1 cookie, not 10 cookies, right? Something like that. You have your boundaries and you have your game plan. I know that that's what I'm going to do. Now, if you go in and have 2 and your boundaries are 1, all you need to simply do is, first of all, own it and say, I did this. And that way, if you own it, we're not going to have a guilt factor. Own it, accept it, and then say, okay, what am I going to do about it? So now you can account for it. So you might, at that point you realize, okay, I went outside of my boundary. I'm gonna now that's what I chose to have was that extra cookie, so I'm not gonna have the extra piece of pecan pie. Or another way to account for it is I need to perhaps expend a few more calories the next morning or that evening, go on an extra 10-minute walk. Set it up in your mind that way so that we have a balance. So if we have a little bit of an influx in outside of our boundaries, well then we need to have influx on this side to account for it and expend those calories. That's a great way, again, to maintain perspective. It's okay if we went outside of our boundaries on a meal, just know on that next rest of the day, the rest of the week, you're gonna have to make up for it. Lastly, sometimes the holidays are stressful. Unless you're me and you have a perfect family, or on the whole, all the extended relatives, and you guys just all get along perfectly, and there's no stress involved, then you might be in trouble here. So sometimes things are outside your control. If you're hosting, I know that can be majorly stressful, especially if you're trying to prepare a lot of these foods as well for everybody. You've got people in your personal space and all that good stuff. Instead of letting these feelings discourage you and all the stress, take control of your eating habits, and make healthy choices a part of your life that is in your control. So that's the main thing: is control what you can control, plan ahead. Don't let the holidays stress you out, because that's only, as Steve said, is only going to make things worse, and you're probably going to make poorer decisions in the moment. So again, circle one of these and really make that your focal point. This is more kind of the mental side behind staying happy and healthy over the holidays, because the mental health is just as important, obviously, as the physical health. So. All right, so here's one that is a challenge for people as well, because we're busy. We might be hosting, and we might have work parties, and all that stuff going on, the family parties. But staying physically active obviously is going to be the other half here. So a way to account for maybe some of the calories that we consumed that we weren't planning for. It's another way to de-stress and those types of things. So before I get to the point here, the photo obviously says these two people are just working their little hearts out on the treadmills. So you're training for a marathon, and the person looks over and says, no, for shopping, so holiday shopping. Aim for 30 to 60 minutes of physical activity on most days, but obviously with this, at Profile we preach, start with something that is manageable. If that's outside of what's manageable for you, that's okay. Do 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and even if you get 15 minutes in, well, it's better than 0. Start there and get that worked in your routine. Next bullet point here is create healthy holiday traditions. I will quickly just let you know, this was something that we always had. The football was always busted out at the holiday events, Thanksgiving, Christmas, even sometimes we go out play in the snow. But everyone in my family got involved. It didn't matter. The uncles were out there. The little ones this big, if they could walk, they were out there. Grandma would be out there, getting activity. So if you can create something like that as a tradition, do it. Another one is looking at maybe the holiday decorations in the neighborhood, bundling up, going for a quick walk. That way, that could be something if no one likes football. But find something that's active for a holiday tradition and implement that. And that's something that they'll pass on as well. So find ways to add more activity in your day. So maybe park the car at the end of the lot, or at least further away than you normally would in the parking lot when you're going shopping for the family, for the food, for the presents. Take a few extra laps around the mall while you're there. If you're at the grocery store, maybe take the stairs instead of elevator, escalator, all those good things. So, Steve, you want to take it next?
Yeah, again, preach a little bit about having someone to do it with, whether it's a brother, sister, a husband, wife, friend, coworker, anyone throughout the holiday that can help hold you accountable, whether it's for being active or just there to support you. It's huge to find key pieces around you to keep you on track. So accountability is a huge thing throughout.
And then I kind of hinted towards this earlier because again, we're all enjoying the time now, but fast forward the tapes a little bit when it is Thanksgiving Day and you've got people coming over. You got to get traveling to wherever and gather all your things and you're stressed and whatnot. The stress adds up, and we really want to eliminate that. And physical activity can be one of the best solutions for that. Time for you to have you time and obviously releasing those healthy endorphins, getting the excess circulation and all that good stuff, burning calories, getting that metabolism driven up. The holidays are busy, sometimes stressful. Exercise is one of the biggest stress relievers out there instead of turning to food for comfort, which obviously is something that we do. Try taking a walk, a jog, lifting weights, grabbing that buddy and going out and doing something active. So that's a majority, I guess I should say, back up. So now, again, circle or mentally note which one or two or three you're going to stick to this year. Mark that down. And then, so you're going to take that list with you, and you're going to review it, and you're going to know what you need to do. And that's going to be in the back of your mind. And this year, I would bet you're going to be a lot more successful. And you're actually going to probably have people joining as well. Because again, people want to do better and be healthier, and we can certainly lead the way in that area. So maybe just a couple of notes on profile briefly, and then we're going to open up for some questions, question and answer. So if this was helpful and valuable for you, it's just a little sliver of some of the value that we can provide, that our coaches provide. We truly are invested in changing lives one relationship at a time in the areas of your nutrition, your activity, and your lifestyle. Again, we're up on 70th and Pioneer. Memberships for a year are typically only $300 with one-on-one coaching for that full year. You get a smart scale to track everything, so it's very motivating, good accountability. Us coming out here today, sharing just some value from the healthy eating habits, that's all we require for a partnership, so it's actually $150 is all for the year, and then you get a 20% off discount off anything at our store. So good benefit for all staff and household members of staff here. So we want to throw that out there. We also work virtually with anyone anywhere in the nation, so you can work over the phone and we can get everything shipped right out to you.
You don't have to be a member necessarily to buy any of her food, so the hot
I was just
chocolate.
gonna ask about the hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate comes with 7 packets in a box. Pretty much everything does for a week. It's easy for us to let our members know what their day, what their week looks like, how much they need. It's very simple there. Actually, it might be a little bit late to the party, but we're rolling out on Monday a pumpkin spice shake.
Pumpkin spice latte.
Spice latte shake. And then,
Also be equated.
I think that's about it. We have some other options. We have over 100 different things: bars, shakes, breakfast food, desserts,
Is
entrees.
that all kind of listed on your website?
Most are. We can cater to any special medical consideration or any special consideration as far as allergy goes as well. We can work with any heart patient, pre-diabetic, type 1, type 2 diabetic, teens and kids as low as 8 years old upon a parent consent, physician consent, athletes, those who want to simply just get to know their eating habits. But we came out with Profile Perform. Really cool if you're interested in that. Come talk to me. I'm a huge advocate for it. It's been awesome for me. And then your typical, weight loss or increasing lean muscle mass, decreasing body fat. We make it simple. That's our first philosophy. So a lot of these things in here, we didn't do anything that you guys have never heard of. We just put it in a form that's going to be very simple for you to go out and follow. When things are simple, we'll do it, and it's very effective that way. But the biggest things that lastly I want to end with is going back to, it's about the small wins, small behavior modifications, those simple things, and when we're consistent with those over time, that is what makes it sustainable. Because we don't want to just simply, lose weight that we need to lose weight and get there and then go back to the old lifestyle. We want this new lifestyle of healthy living. So on that note, I will turn it over to you guys for any follow-up questions or anything about the presentation, the holidays, or things from our store, operations or anything like that as well.
Do your diet plans use a lot of meal replacement shakes, or is it mostly real food that maybe you have to buy a lot of products and stuff from you guys?
It's going to be a combination of grocery foods from the store, and you can think of us as a grocery store as well. So we have our foods, all natural shelf-stable entrees and things like that as well. We do have meal replacements as well too. But it's going to be, everyone's plan's a little different, where you're at, where you're going, what your lifestyle, what your goals are. But we have everything set up by physicians, researchers from